So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Helix platform, breaking down silos with ServiceOps and data sharing. Today is going to be presented by Yaron Front, our product director, my co-host, and also Graham Brown, who will be going through the set of slides today, our senior principal solutions engineer. If you do want to connect to us, we do have a LinkedIn page. Graham, if you can move to the next slide. So there are on these LinkedIns, you'll be able to click on there and it will take you directly to our page. So firstly, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a program manager in BMC. Many of you may have seen my face or seen my name on LinkedIn. I'm creating a lot of content, self-serve and self-solve. So any webinars, any workshops or sessions like this, which is part of a bigger AI Ops webinar series, I will be setting those up and working with various presenters. So for this AI Ops series, Yaron is my co-host. So Yaron is our product director. Yaron, if you want to just do a quick intro.
Sure, thanks, Samantha. So my name is Yaron Front. I'm a product director, which means that I'm a product manager on the IT operations management side and our digital service and operations management. I'm also the AI Ops product evangelist, which means that I get the great pleasure and have fun hosting these webinars alongside Samantha. And today we have a really special guest who's going to show us a lot of cool stuff about ServiceOps, and that's Graham. Graham, please.
Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, my name's Graham Brown. I'm one of the pre-sales solution engineers based in the UK at BMC. I've been back at BMC just over 6 years. I've had a lot of history with the products. I've done a total of nearly 17 years now at BMC. So worked with the products a lot, and it's been interesting to see that the changes that have happened certainly over the last 5 years or so as we've released Helix on the ITOM side and AI Ops. So it'd be good to go through and talk about how the integration has progressed and the data sharing that goes on between the different components. Thanks.
Thank you, Graham. And before we get started with Yaron, just a couple of reminders. If anyone does have any questions, to put them into the Q&A section of Zoom, which you will find at the bottom. And then any questions which are very likely going to be related to some of the slides that and content Graham's going to go through, we will take it to the live Q&A at the end. So I'm now going to hand over to Yaron to get us started.
Very good. Thanks, Sam. So I'm just going to go through three really quick slides, and then we're going to dive into the subject itself. But so what do we mean when we say ServiceOps? This is kind of a new concept when it comes to IT operations management and enterprise service management. And ServiceOps is enabling the collaboration between service management, operations management, and DevOps. So if you have DevOps, it brings everything together. If it's only service management, IT operations management, then it brings these two together with the practices that go into each one of these three. And we're going to talk a lot about why that's important in the next slide. But what it allows us to do is to essentially accelerate change and speed up problem resolution and speed up service to your customers or even internal services or to your partners. And what we're essentially doing is we're breaking down silos. And in previous sessions, we talked about the fact that anybody who's worked with AI and machine learning, and now it's generative, knows that AI and specifically AI Ops and Service Ops are only good as the depth and the breadth of the information you feed into them. So the more information a model has, the more information AI and ML can learn from, the better your outcomes. So the fact that we're able to bring these two practices, these three disciplines together, has a lot of value when you're talking about AI Ops. Next slide, please. So the key differentiators or what makes a good ServiceOps platform is listed here on the left. It's the ability to look at the world from a service perspective and not necessarily from an IT infrastructure perspective. So on the one hand, when you go in and you want to solve problems, you do need to look at the infrastructure. You need to look at servers and database and applications and layers and all that good stuff. But when you're coming in, you also need to have the context of what the service is. Next, you need to have good artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities within the platform that brings all that information together. You want to be able to do a lot of things, and especially in enterprise service management, to have things done self-service by your users or your customers. And you want to have an open model and a modern platform to back it up. What that means is that we all know for service management, for providing services, for managing your IT, there are different tools. And if you are not able to bring in all the information through an open platform, your AI, your ML, your operations management, and your service management are going to suffer. Next slide, please. And that's what we're able to do in a unified AIOps platform. So on the left, you can see all the different sources of information. And what you can see on the right is that we use what's the industry calls composite AI. And composite AI means the ability to bring in a lot of data in and using different AI modalities and capabilities to work together. So on the left, on the big square on the left, you see that the modalities are predictive AI and causal AI. So predictive AI is, okay, let the model learn from the past and predict into the future. Now, the past can be longer term, shorter term. The future, same thing. You can try and project, am I going to have an issue an hour from now? And you can project into the future, am I going to have a problem 6 months from now when there's a business event? Causal AI means, okay, I'm looking at what's going on right now and then projecting into the past and figuring out what happened in the past and what is the root cause of what is happening right now. And these two disciplines for AI interact with generative AI, which knows how to understand human language. It knows how to recommend in human readable form. It knows how to describe in human readable form. So it's not going to be very helpful if my causal AI tells me, hey, you had error 16 on server XY17 3 minutes ago. That's not going to be very helpful to me. But using something like generative AI means that I can tell a story in human readable form. Same thing that if a customer or a user opens up a ticket and says, I cannot reach the CRM system, I am getting an error 17, that's not going to be very useful to our causal or our predictive AI engines because honestly, they don't understand human language. But if we can take that, we can summarize it, we can make it actionable, then all of these modalities through prompt and context and then responses helps us make better sense of the world and helps us do both service operations and service management and IT operations management better, quicker, for better service levels, quicker MTTR, all the good things that we talked about in this series. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Graham to show us how this is actually done.
Okay, thanks. You're on. Okay, so what I wanted to do to go through today was really delve under the covers a bit more about how I see the integration that's there, the data sharing within our platform. And I've split that out into these 8 different areas that we're going to go through very quickly on each, obviously, but hopefully to give you that understanding that that it really is sharing the data between the different disciplines. If we look, as I mentioned earlier, I've worked with the BMC tools for a long time. We've always had elements of integration and APIs between things, but it's now really sharing that for a combination of reasons, both as Joran's been talking about, for being able to allow the AI and ML to make use of this data wherever it's been inputted or collected from, but also to give a seamless access to the end users that access the tools through the GUI as well. So we're going to go through each of these and just discuss those and put some screenshots of how that manifests itself within the tools as well. So we'll look at the underlying service models and how we gather those and generate those, and then other areas around the integration between the different components. So I've just program out or sort of split these out with ITOM here on the left with AI Ops and Helix ITSM on the right, and some different areas of capabilities within the platform. And we're going to look at how those interact from the tool, mainly from the AI Ops perspective, because that's my history as well. And the series is a lot about AI Ops, but obviously with ServiceOps, it's about pulling all of these together. So we'll go through each of those. So first of all, from the understanding of your actual service, as Joran talked about, for us to be able to provide a service to the end users, we need to understand what makes up that service, whether we're doing it from a service management perspective or whether we're doing it from an operations and observability and AI Ops perspective. And we do that by being able to discover the environment, as I'm sure many of you know, with the BMC Helix discovery, but it's also about being able to integrate with other tools that have topology information and allow that to be available across the whole platform. So this is where, there we go, it is going to build. So this is to indicate that we're building those service models, and it's available to everything within the platform. There should be lines to the top line as well, but it would make it very messy. But the ability to be able to discover using our own discover capability, but also pulling in data from many other places as well. And we'll look at how we can do that. So first of all, we have our own discovery. We can go and find the different elements that are out in your environment, the CIs, the topology, the information that's out there that we can see. But there are other tools that provide a lot of detail as well. And there's a wide range of things out there that customers have. And not only do we want to be able to pull in things like events and so on, we need to be able to understand the service from an end-to-end perspective. So where you have tools like Dynatrace or AppDynamics or New Relic, or you've got some network monitoring tools that have topology, being able to see all of that information in one place within the Helix platform gives us a great foundation, not only for you as end users to be able to view that service and understand it, but also for all of the AI and ML to make use of that, to be able to understand the linkage between the different components. So with the intelligent integration that allows us to pull these things together automatically, and there's some things listed there that are configured in this environment, but there's an idea of the different range of elements that we support out of the box. So not only can we take the ones that we have out of the box integration for, but you've got the ability to customize that and pull in from other places as well. But by pulling that together, then once we're looking at the service or a set of services within AI Ops or service monitoring, as we've got here, we've got a hierarchy of services, then it allows us to visually see it, but also for all of the technology to work on that, to be able to understand what's happening under the covers. You can see the detailed different components and the linkage between them, and the fact that this topology could have come from 2, 3, 4 different sources and is consolidated together into a single service model that we can visualize, but is also used by the AI and ML and used across all of the different elements of the Helix platform. So here we're seeing it within AI Ops, but we can also see exactly the same services are available within the service management platform. As we drill down within service management, you've got the same data, the same, you've got a tabular view of the service hierarchy and the parent-child relationships and the components that are within the actual service, as well as being able to link across and look at those different components. So the fact that we have all of that within the tool, the integration, the automated discovery, it's doing all of that reconciliation for us, keeping everything up to date. It's all automated and dynamic. So we've always got the up-to-date definition of our service and the links between those different components. And that is then shared across the whole platform. There's no more copying things around and providing things to the different areas. It's there as a service and a service model that's available across the whole platform. So that's really the first sort of foundation point is having that information and having all of the tools looking at that and it being up to date and automated. Now, if we move on to look at, you'd have thought with PowerPoint, we'd be all right. Right, it is going to work. Okay, so if we move on to look at some of the more detailed areas, because I think we quite often typically talk about the underlying service and being shared across, and there's some of the other elements, but I think there's some other things which where we're sharing data or the ability to share data that enhances the capability to make sure things are routed in the right way, make sure that we've got up-to-date information and relevant information for both the AI and for the end users. And one of those is being able to use additional information from our discovered data further down the path when maybe we're generating events. So, for example, you might be, if we go into have a look at how that is linked together, so information, detailed information from discovery that can be picked up and used within our event management. Now, event management allows us to make decisions about the events. We can do that using policies. We can use the AI and ML and correlate and so on. And the more richness you've got in there, the more information you've got in there, the better, whether it's for the model to access or whether it's for you as end users to see. Now, if we think about within discovery, there's all sorts of detail that's picked up when we could do a discovery, whether that's us discovering the information or whether that's information that's coming in via intelligent integration. So I've just picked one thing here. So as part of what we might discover, it's the hardware vendor. So you may, as part of your process, if you're actually going to raise a ticket as a result of this, that it may need to be routed to a certain person because of the hardware vendor. To have that information in from the start rather than having to pick it up or enrich it from some other data source makes the process a lot simpler and cleaner and share that information across. And that's very easy to do within the Helix platform because we have the ability using the low code, no code environment to just pick that information that we want. Say we want to take the hardware vendor and add that into our actual event and enrich that automatically. And we can see that can get pulled through, added in, and used in any other place as it goes through the process, whether you're just managing the events within the platform or whether you're going to raise a ticket into service management. So that means there's no more exporting of maybe some other information and then importing it into somewhere else, which inevitably things become stale or they're out of date by a few hours or a couple of days. And that when new devices appear, information that's been automatically discovered is immediately available to the other processes within the platform, and it gets propagated through. So again, it's all automated and dynamic. It's kept up to date and will change as discovery finds different things or different things get added or removed. It will all be up to date. Now, another area where we see a lot of benefit in the sharing of information is about change requests being considered by root cause analysis. And that's, if we look at all of the stats, then it's very often the case that when a change occurs, that is what has caused an issue that someone's seeing. Now, that could be a plan change, an emergency change, but even so, it's quite often something that's changed that causes an impact. And being able to highlight that and understand that both visually and the tool automatically highlighting that to you will help you actually then resolve the problem as quickly as possible, because you can then roll it back. You can go and speak to the right people about it without getting the war room and so on and starting to look at all of the different layers. So if we look at that, how change management can help with probable cause analysis and having data shared between those different components, then what you'll see, first of all, is within the AI Ops platform area, is that on the left-hand side, we can see a change has actually occurred. So visually, we can see that a change has occurred to this service about an hour before an impact started happening. So, the change was started and then something happens that as part of that change, potentially, that's caused a problem. But not only is it available visually there, you can also see it highlights it as part of the root cause. So that's taken into account in the way that it does its root cause analysis using the AI and ML, the understanding of the topology, the components that make up the service, but that's also shown to us here, and it feeds into the probability of the component that is causing the problem. So that then, let's say, allows you to immediately understand that perhaps that change has caused a problem, and you can then address that by going and rolling it back, seeing what's happening from that perspective. Again, automated and dynamic. So the change is being picked up automatically. It's highlighted on that timeline, and it's taken into account in the root cause analysis. If the change gets cancelled 10 minutes before it is about to be implemented, then that wouldn't then be taken into account in the root cause analysis or appear in the timeline, because it wasn't something that was active and happened. On the flip side, I suppose, of that, there's also the capability to make sure that if you have got a change occurring that is going to impact your service or elements of the service, that you can black out the things that are picked up, so that AI Ops, you'll hear us talking a lot about the noise reduction and making sure that we're focusing on the issues that are important and need to be resolved. And if we can also black out the items that are being picked up that are saying there are problems when we know the system's down, then that will significantly help as well. So making sure that we're taking those into account and blacking out anything like that because a change window is active. So that's an integration between the change management and the event management area, and doing that again automatically. So that's configured up within the tool. Most of these things also have various options. So it's great to have this sharing and the closeness between the different capabilities. But customers, as you know, obviously our experience over the years, customers have lots of different requirements and want to tweak things and change things. So there's also ways to turn some of this on and off and make some changes. So with the blackout policies, for example, we can decide how we're going to call those blackout policies, what they're going to be named as they're created, and what information is going to be gathered automatically for us. And then also around, as with all the blackout policies that you create, whether they're done automatically by this or whether you're doing them manually or whether you're doing them through the API, then you're also able to decide whether if something's already in a down state or an errored state, do you want to leave those events there, or do you want to black them out? And when you come out of the change window, what do you want to do with those? So the blackout doesn't throw away any of the events. It's just blacking it out during the period that you've specified. But it's all done for you automatically and kept up to date. Again, automatic and dynamic. It's going to change if you make changes to your actual change request, then that's going to be modified within our blackout policy for you. So the two things are sharing the data, kept in sync, and understand what's going on both sides. Now, I think one of the areas that I'm sure everyone's probably heard of and what we show as part of the demos and so on in a lot of cases about being able to raise incidents from events. So once from the operations side that we've got an understanding that something's gone wrong with our service, how do we make sure that that's managed and that service management understand there's a problem as well? And rather than having to copy between the different components, we can automatically create those incidents with all of the relevant information as well, making sure it's linked to the service, making sure that the root cause is passed across as well. So we can see that within AIOps and service management, and the way that the service-centric monitoring is linked to incident management. So within service monitoring and AIOps, we can see the status of the service and the situations. I'm sure you've all seen details about how situations are created automatically and so on. But that can then automatically raise an incident for us. And then we pass across the information about what's actually happened and the root cause, and make sure that detail is all shared, and we have that link within the platform then also to the incident from the event. So there's the bidirectional sharing of information between the components within the platform. And if we go and look at the actual incident that's been created, you will see that, you know, we've got the same service as we talked about earlier. That service is available across the whole platform. So you've got the same understanding of the service and the components that make it up. And then also within the service management platform, we have a live view of the probable cause and status and so on as well. So again, it's all just sat there using the same service, the same data, but within these different capabilities, we're sharing the information between them to make sure they're in sync, so that we understand the status. And if someone closes the incident, then you'll be able to see that within operations management. And if the system picks up that from the operations side that everything's working again, then that can automatically close the incident for you. So it's all kept in step, in sync, and it's automated for you and kept up to date. Okay, moving on to how we can then look at automating to resolve issues, and how that can then be linked as well and share information with service management. So when something happens in your environment and an issue occurs, you might have some automation that allows you to both triage that and gather additional information, but also potentially resolve the problem. It might be restarting an application, compressing a file system, all sorts of things that could be done. But you might not want to do those in isolation without first of all making sure that it's gone through change management. So within the platform, we obviously got the change management capability, we have automation capability. There's links between those if you want to use them to make sure that before going ahead and doing some full automation, it actually goes through your change management process and everything follows through and the information is shared for you. So when an automation is picked up and can either be run just as it comes in and happens, or it can be initiated by an operator who's looking at the console and clicking and doing run this automation as we can here, then regardless of whether it's picked up and run automatically or whether it's run semi-automatically by user intervention, then if you've got within your policy, within intelligent automation, if you've decided that actually for this one to run, you want to make sure that it's going through change control, whether that's a pre-approved change or whether it's one that has to be approved in again, but people actually going through and approving that through the various consoles, then you can select that. And then the information, again, shared, automatically available. You've got the change request that's generated. The automation will wait until that change request is approved, and then it will continue. So you've still got all of the checks and balances. You're sharing the information between the different components, and it's going to happen as quickly as possible as soon as it is approved. You're not having to have lots of extra manual steps where you've got to go and manually raise a change, wait for the change, then click go on the automation. It's all part of the process, information shared between the different components, and it will move on and do the automation, log it, audit it, all of the usual things once that change is approved. Another area in the automation is around the best action recommendation, where you've got a lot of information within your incidents that have happened historically, and you've probably seen presentations where we talk about situations and the similar situations that are within the platform, where we can see what's happened historically, and therefore we can actually make some judgment where we've got another situation today that was similar to something that happened 3 weeks ago. Then how did we fix it 3 weeks ago, and how could we improve doing that now quickly? So that then you can do that manually, but we can also share that information between the different components so that the best action recommendation will actually go and look at those historical incidents and what has happened and how things were fixed, and use that to then help us, oops, sorry, pressed the wrong area, use that to then help with the automation to resolve the current problem. And the way you'll see that is that you get, for example, these suggested remediation steps. So it has an idea already of things that can be done. The model has, obviously generic knowledge of IT environments and so on. But where you have information within your service management platform, then we can make use of that with our AI and ML to actually look at what has happened historically and make suggestions as to how that could be fixed in your environment based on what's been successful previously, along with the other areas here where we can actually go and create some code to help perform those actions to speed that up even more. But having this information that's tuned based on what's happened in your environment already, again, will significantly help in terms of improving the response and fixing things as quickly as possible, as well as being able to make more interactive use of Helix GPT to be able to say, well, were there any change windows happening if we haven't seen that on the previous screens, or who's impacted by this, and so on. So the ability for it to pick that up and share that information from service management back into AI ops. And then from a perspective of sharing that information to everyone, and the ability to see all of this information in whatever form you want, then the Helix dashboards, I suppose, where you've got your service models underneath, to sort of underpinning and providing that structure for all of the different components, then Helix dashboards sitting on top really allows us to visualize all of that information, whether it's your service management data aggregated up right the way down to the detail of all the different incidents, problems and changes, through to the operations management data, whether that's metrics about user response time and activity, real user responses, synthetic, whether it's application information, whether it's infrastructure information. And whether you want to look at this from a service perspective or whether you want to look at it from a technology perspective, having all of that information in one place, having it there gathered automatically, being up to date and dynamic, really gives you that benefit of everything in one place, and having shared that data across the platform. So there are many different dashboards available out of the box that aggregate the top level information for the sort of CXOs, CEOs, and so on, right the way down to detailed information about the individual components. But it's all available and shared across the platform. So we can see detailed stats about the service health, the number of events, the situations, the number of incidents, the health, and so on, right the way down to metrics about, say, the individual applications, the lower level components. You can give people the ability to view this and drill in and understand that and see what's happening, the incidents that occurred, the changes that occurred at the same time. But pulling that all together and visualizing that in one place and being able to look at it for across the same time frame instantly and simply. So again, that's all automated and dynamic as the information comes in from the different platforms, and things happen within the Helix platform. It's all going to be kept up to date and visualized because it's all based on the same set of data in the same data lake. So that was very much a quick fly through what I saw as sort of 8 sort of major areas where we're doing a lot of sharing of information within the platform. And whereas historically that might have been a bit more disjoint and separate, as I say, people might have, you know, done some exports and imports, but really pulling that together within the platform and making it available instantly and making sure things are up to date, that it's a much closer knit environment, and yeah, you're not having to manually do those things anymore. It's just there and available for you automatically. Okay, I think that's time for any Q&A.
Okay,
Questions?
not at the moment. You've obviously explained everything very well indeed. So we want to open the opportunity up for the audience. If you do have any questions, I'm just going to give you the ability to speak to us live. While I'm doing that, Graham, I don't know if there's any pointers or anything specific to help customers, like a call to action or anything specific you want to mention, just while I unmute everyone.
There wasn't anything specific. I mean, I was what I was trying to do, as I say, was really highlight. You know, we talk about ServiceOps at a high level about these, the fact that it's a data lake and everything's in one place and we're sharing the information. It's really, you know, trying to highlight that how that manifests itself in a bit more detail. And I've hopefully given some ideas as to how some of those things can be used and what's there, but it's really, you know, people can think about how that might be useful in their particular environment, because there are lots of different options and choices you can make about some of these things. So, you know, it's not just a case of, as I think is true with all of our tools, we try and make things very simple and easy and wizard based, and that you can do things relatively easily, but it's also very customizable, and where you want to make some slight changes or tweak things, it's possible to do that, and utilize those capabilities, but make it fit with your processes and so on. And I suppose the other thing I could say quickly is, you know, I've very much talked about the integration within the Helix platform for ServiceOps, and you've seen, you know, our ITSM and AIOps. But if you're using our AIOps and you're using other service management platforms, then we have ability to integrate with those in a very similar way and share information between them and our AIOps as well. So it's you know, obviously our preference would be that you're using the Helix platform in its entirety, but if you're using some other technologies, we have a lot of integrations that allow you to make use of these capabilities as well.
Thank you, Graham. So while we're giving people the opportunity, if they do have any questions, to put it into the Q&A section of Zoom, if you can just move to the next slide, and I will just recap some of the content we've already created. So for those that are joining for the first time, obviously this is session 6 today. Session 5 was last month. We do these once a month. So if you've missed any of them, I will be sharing these slides out post-event, if it's not today, tomorrow, with all these links, so you can go back and have a look at the recordings. Also, if you did sign up, you'll see when new sessions get added, you can just click on there and sign up as a pre-event. So we will be doing these once a month. We've got some more exciting events coming up over the next couple of months. It's very likely the December one will be pushed a little bit earlier. We do understand people go on holiday and do need a break. So we will be running a session in December. We're just working out timelines for that. And then there's also some past content as well. This was previous webinars that we've done. We're collaborating with other teams. So if any events are useful and related to some of the content that we have in AIOps, I will be sharing this on a monthly basis, so you've got all the reference material. And then as far as education, we've posted an education recommendation. If unsure, feel free to reach out. I do post the 15% discount. So if you sign up to any of the subscriptions, in particular the web-based training, you can also get discount as well. Graham, if you can just move to the next slide. So we've also got some getting started. So if you're very new to AI Ops, there's a couple of really useful links. I work very closely with the documentation team. They also have a YouTube playlist specifically around AI Ops. Again, I would really highly recommend that you click onto there and see if there's anything that might be quite useful to you. And again, if you find that there's content that's missing, please do reach out. I do work with Yaron and the wider team like Graham to create the missing content or set up a webinar or some sort of event. Then if we can go to the next slide. So the next session that we've got coming up, and the link also for the actual series is up at the top. We will be running a session on the 18th of September, which will be the BMC Helix Observability and AI Ops. So this is around good events, drive good decisions. We're going to be doing it with our development department. So I don't know, Yaron, if that's a good point, if you want to just raise about the session that we're going to do there from the technical standpoint.
Yeah, so next month's session is going to talk about, so we talked about the breadth and the depths of the information that goes into AI Ops, leading to better outcomes. But we're going to dive into one type of data that is very common in AI Ops, which is events, and how to drive better events and how to use events more efficiently to get those better outcomes in AI Ops. And we're going to have a guest speaker talking about that next month.
Great, thank you. And then finally, we have been joined by Angela, and apologies, I haven't put the actual physical slide with the code that you can scan for the QR, but Angela, would you like to just come off mute and introduce around the design partnership? And I will share the slides post-event for the customers as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam. So hi, everyone. So I'm Angela Sandoval, and I lead our UX research program at BMC. What we do is we run sessions with various customers to really understand their needs, and we try to elicit honest feedback on early designs, early concepts to make sure whatever it is that we're going to be delivering really matches customer needs. We are looking into the service ops area and running a few studies in the near future. If anyone is interested in becoming a design partner, all it takes is providing your contact information, and Sam will be sending a link to sign up, identifying a few key areas of your interest. And whenever we do have activities that are coming up that align with those interests, we'll send you an email letting you know about those. And you can ignore the email, or you can respond saying you're interested in participating. And activities could be detailed discussions with PMs, with architects, with data science, participating in UX research as well, getting really early insights into concepts and being able to influence those. So various types of activities that are available when becoming a design partner. So look forward if anyone is interested in participating. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela. Sam, just a quick comment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on a lot of these sessions with Angela and her team for the Design Partnership Program. So I do encourage anybody who wants to check it out. It's really fun. I mean, these are really fun sessions. They're not, it's not a heavy session, and we get a lot of good insights and input from our customers and from other experts. So yeah, I do encourage you to join that.
Thank you, Yaron. So we don't have any questions, which is, I would say, great, Graham, because it means there's not lots to answer. But if anyone does have any questions post-event that they would like answered, if it's something very specific, please reach out and I'll put you in contact with the team. I want to thank Graham for joining us, and obviously thank you, Yaron. I know we co-host this together, but it's always a pleasure. And also thank you, Angela. So all of the content today will be shared. If you've got any further questions, feel free to reach out, and also any ideas of content, please fill in the survey, which will take you less than a few minutes. So with that, I'm going to close the call and wish everyone a good day, good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.